Hi guys, welcome to my very first episode of my MostlyMeera podcast. I'm really excited to actually be launching this after a lot of talking and a lot of planning and a lot of help from my friends, which I'm really grateful for. My producer's in the back, Jane, thank you so much for what you're doing. But yeah, this podcast is going to be very unlike the others. I'm not coming full glam. I'm not coming like fully decked out to be out in the clubs, and well, I don't do that anyway because I'm a mum now. But yeah, I'm not coming out. This is me at home in my environment, and I'm just here to talk to you guys. My plan is to have a whole sort of array of topics. I want you guys to learn about my culture, my heritage. I'm actually from two different places. So my parents are from Kenya, but their parents, or like my great grandparents, are from India. So I'm Indian Gujarati with a bit of Kenyan, born in the UK. So there's a lot of cultural mishmash going on, and I was brought up in a very English area, to be correct. So I'm going to talk about what that was like. I'm also going to be talking about what it was like to live in a joint family, what it's like being a mum to a 3 going on 13-year-old who loves to talk back to mummy. I'm going to talk about my relationship with my parents, my brother. I'm actually going to have them as guests on here at some point. And I'm going to talk a lot about stigmas with the Asian community, such as healthcare, mental health. Also going to talk about our younger days and generational trauma, which will be... So I'm trying to keep it balanced. I'm going to have a few days where it'll be like episodes will be heavy topics, and a few episodes where it will be light, fun, and me just telling you about the chaos in my life. Let's talk about it. Motherhood. What it's like being a mum. And I'm not going for just the sleepless nights, to be relentlessly tired, hearing the word mummy for 50,000 times a day. Well, that's just before breakfast. But I'm thinking about the load of pressure you have as a mum. Because with which way you go, whether you're a career mum, a stay-at-home mum, or whatever type of mum you are, you're going to get judged. My advice to every single mum out there is do not listen to anyone. Because everybody is going to give you their 6p's worth of advice, and you're going to be going from here to there and be so conflicted, and it's going to be the most gut-wrenching thing, because all it does is make you feel guilty. Well, I'm not doing it like this, and I'm not doing it like this. You're the mum, you know best. And if you do want advice, you are the person to choose. So whether it's a grandmother giving you advice, or if it's your own mum giving you advice, or if it's your friend giving you advice, make sure they know that the advice is only welcome if you ask for it. Because I know that when I had Shivaay, it was, and I was getting do this, do this, do this, do this, to the point where I was like, I can't do all of these things in I have 24 hours. I'm not Beyonce. I don't have 56 hours in one day. That's not me. Yeah. And I need to sleep. I was really lucky I had my mum, because she really helped me through that postpartum period. We have a thing in our Asian community a lot of the time where you go back to your mum's house after you've given birth for 6 weeks. My mum I was lucky enough, to be able to have my mum help me for 3 months. So she, when I was waking up, because Shivaay was breastfed, so in the night he was up a lot, just there. So if I needed a few hours of sleep, she would just take him in the morning. So I did a combination of formula and breastfed, because it just made my life easy. And that's another thing. Which way you feed is nobody's concern. Whether it's formula, whether it's breastfed, it doesn't matter. That's nobody's concern. My point here is that I want this to be a judgment-free zone, and I want you guys to be able to know that motherhood is not the perfect Instagram reels, it's not the perfect TikToks, it's not. It's waking up at 6 in the morning or 5 in the morning or 3 in the morning, whenever your baby wakes up, and then knowing at 9 o'clock or 8 o'clock that you're so tired and you really want to sleep, but you're still scrolling through your phone, because that's the only 2-3 hours you just get when nobody is calling your name, nobody wants you to do something Nobody's asking you. They want to drink something. They want to eat something. They want a snack. They want to play this. They want to play that. They want to go to the park. They want to do this. Well, there's no one crying for you. That you just get that mental sanity, and it's totally, totally normal. So I just want to assure you guys that I'm going to be talking about a lot of things about motherhood. If you've got any questions or any stories, I'd love to hear stories from new mums, because I think a lot of us can relate to stuff that we've been through. I know a lot of us have had problems with feeding our babies. A lot of us had sleepless nights because they wouldn't go to sleep. Like, mine's going through growing pains right now. So he wakes up at 2 a.m, "Mommy, my legs hurt." So I end up massaging his legs for like an hour until he goes back to sleep. And then he wakes up bright as a doorbell, like 5 a.m. "Okay, let's go play now." And I'm like, yeah, it's a lot. But again, the most rewarding thing is when they come up to you and they hug you. Shivaay does this thing where he will come up, and at night he'll come and hug me, kiss me, say he loves me more than anything in the whole wide world. And then we sing the Barney song together. If you know the Barney song, you know the Barney song. But that's our thing. And that's my chapter of motherhood that I think will be a really good subject that we can keep ongoing on this podcast. So, being South Asian and being a Desi girl and living in the UK has always been a huge cultural difference, especially for me. I was born in the 80s, grew up in the 90s, and I remember going to school with oil in my hair. I remember like having Indian food in your lunchbox and having things that like were not accepted back in the day, which was very hard for us to transition, because I went to a very sort of English dominated or like school. I mean, me and I think 2 other girls were the only people of color in our year, and that is a huge thing, because you look at the difference now. I look at my son, and he goes to nursery, and he goes to like, he's going to school next year, and he'll be in such a multicultural, diverse background. I remember a story my mum told me, actually, was when she was growing up. She came here, I think, from Kenya when she was 7, 8 years old, and she lived in Northolt, which is like Harrow way. If you're a London person, you know that area. And she went to a grammar school, and she said that the racism that she faced during that time was one of the worst things that she could ever face. My dad was lucky in a sense, because he grew up in Kenya and he came here like a bit later on, so he didn't face the same aspect. And plus, when he came here, he was ready to work. He was in business. The business was established, so it was they had 2 very different like growing up aspects. Then they came here, they got married, and then I grew up in a joint family. I lived with my great grandmother, which unheard of. Unfortunately, my dad's parents passed away, so my dad's maternal grandmother brought him up. So we lived in this house, which my parents still live in to this day, which is amazing, because to this day, that is still my home. When I decided to move out and we got a house together, we decided that it has to be 5 minutes away from my mum, because I have a very close relationship with my parents and my brother, so I need that sort of support unit and that village around me. I think a lot of people who have grown up South Asian will understand having your village, not just when you have kids. There's nothing to do with kids. I think just generally having your village is so important to us, because that's what we've been brought up with. I had a very different experience growing up, because I grew up in a family that was quite toxic and volatile, and that's not my parents or my brother, but it was the extended family that I was in the house with, which I will touch on when I do an episode with my mum, so look out for that one. And I also will touch on generational trauma with my brother, because me and my brother, we have 7 years between us. We lived very different lives, but we both had generational trauma from very different aspects, and I'd love for you guys to hear his aspect, because it's so unique, and I did not see that while I was growing up, because I became a rebel child because I was so suppressed and I was not allowed to do so many things. Being a girl, being a brown girl, literally living, and my house was an open house. People would come in and out of my house, like my great grandmother's daughters, their kids, their grandkids, they would in and out of our house like it was like a restaurant or a free zone. And my mum spent her time, she wasn't in the kitchen, she was serving my great grandmother, which in a way was her life was literally lived very difficult. And I'm so happy for her now that she gets to live her dream. She's working the job of her dream. She owns her own business and she's living her life. She's traveling. My parents are doing their bucket list, and I think that's amazing. And I think their marriage is what I aspire to have, like, for everybody, because love like that is unfounded. Like, yeah, they argue like cat and dog sometimes, but we all do. That's just like normal thing. But I know that they can't live without each other. I actually asked my mum one day, if you had to choose me and my brother or your husband, as in my dad, who would you choose? And she said, I'd choose your dad because you lot have your own lives. That's my life partner. And for a woman to say that over her kids, that's a big thing. And I think that's what we should all aspire to. Like, my dad still gets my mum flowers. They go on dates. They go on holidays together. The effort is still there. And that's after... So look, I'm going to be 40 next year. They got married in 1980. So 45 years almost of marriage. So that's a whole big family that they've created. And now we have this. I don't know if you guys have ever watched Meet the Fockers. And they have the circle of trust. And I feel like we just have this circle of trust now. And Shivaay is in the middle of that because he is the most spoiled grandchild in life. Although my brother is the one that I turn to for discipline and like when he's like overdoing, because he's the only one that like I had this real respect for my great uncle who's now sadly passed, but I loved him so much that I slightly feared him. So that when he would like call up and be like, are you okay? And I would be like, yeah, like I haven't done anything. So Shivaay has the same relationship with his maternal uncle. Is, you know, very, very similar. For a lot of us, there is code switching. So I do have an Indian accent when I talk to certain family members. I talk like this. And it doesn't mean to come out, but it comes out. And then my Gujarati is not pure Gujarati because my family are from Kenya. So those of you that can relate, I have a lot of Swahili in my Gujarati. So I will say certain words. Like, I did not know that a plate in Gujarati was a thali. I thought it was a sani because in Swahili, it's a sani. And when you've got family from Kenya, your Gujarati is all mixed up. And I also, like, watched a few other podcasts. And I know there's this Kathiawadi and there's so many different types of Gujarati in this world. And again, associated with the food that we eat. A lot of people who are from Gujarat, they have a very different style of cooking to the way that Kenyan Gujaratis have to style of cooking. We have a lot of dishes like Zanzibar mix and ugali and stuff like that because it's all from Kenya. So we've incorporated dishes that we have brought here, and it's all like, it's a mishmash, but it's the most beautiful mishmash of things. Mental health in the Desi community, or just mental health in general, really, especially in women. But I do like to focus on the South Asian community because I feel like we are really underrepresented in this sort of field. Ethnic minorities in general, I feel like mental health is not taken seriously. I'm not going to make it heavy this episode because this is just like sort of an introduction to what I will be talking about. So I have had anxiety, I've been through depression, I've been through a lot of mental health issues, but I am lucky enough to see an amazing therapist who has really helped me through a bravado of problems. I know that a lot of us are not financially able, but I know that there are people and places out there where you can look to. I'm going to link some links at the bottom of my YouTube for places of people that you can talk to. I think mental health has a huge impact on South Asian women, especially because from the day we were born, especially for us that were born pre-90s, even noughties, the pressure on you to just be the good girl and be the person that you parents can be proud of, and there's nothing wrong with you and you're always perfect. And if you guys have read my blog, you know I do overshare a lot, and I'm proud to do so because I know that people should be able to relate to things that I've been through, that normal people go through on a daily basis. But the problem is that nobody wants to talk about it, or they're embarrassed to talk about it, or they don't want to address it because and my favorite words, What will people say? And if you're Gujarati, bada so kehenge. Or if you're Hindi, log kya kahenge, which is the same. It's the same factor. Is that bada baat karse? Everyone's going to talk. Yes, everyone is going to talk, but that's not your problem. If you're open about this, other people will be open about this. I remember having this conversation with my mum many years ago, and I'm very blessed to have parents that will be like, let's get you into therapy. My mother still refuses to go to therapy, even though I know she needs it, but I am her venting person. My mom's been through a lot, but I see her generational trauma. She's never taken it out on me, which I'm very lucky for. But a lot of my friends, a lot of my family members have had that generational trauma. And I don't know if you guys have seen TikToks where they show a glass of water and how generational trauma filters. And we are the generation that breaks that trauma. So I want you guys to be able to comment and tell me about all your stories. Email me, send me a message on Instagram. I want to hear all of it because I want to talk about it on the podcast. That's the whole focus of this podcast, is I want to know your generational trauma. Being an eldest daughter, biggest trauma in life, right? I am the parent to my parents now. I have to ask my dad, he's got diabetes. Have you eaten? Is this? Da, da, da. My mum, amount of times I've had to make her hospital and doctor's appointments for her because she's like, no, I'm fine. No, you're not fine. I'm going to make the appointment for you. So this is like, I know a lot of us eldest daughters, or even if you're like the youngest child and you're the glass child, or, you know, there's so much that's involved around mental health, toxic friendships, toxic relationships, toxic everything, really. There's so many things that you have. I had a very toxic friend when I was younger. Get involved with people that weren't very good for her. And then whenever she would get involved, she'd cut me off. And then when she was fine, she would then come back to me. And again, that gives you insecurities, that gives you problems. When I was going to school, I was the only brown girl. Again, another, like, you know, and then it doesn't help when you're in an environment when you've got loads of cousins and you know what Asian families are like. Oh, well, my daughter's doing this and my son is doing that and my daughter's got this and I've got this and this many letters after my name. I have no letters after my name, but you know what? I have the best family and I have the best relationship with them. And I know a lot of my family would put their parents in a home. And I know that I would never do that. So as far as I'm concerned, the ones that have really, really raised their kids to be not very kind people, a lot of the parents have raised their kids to be really nasty, and they have turned out to be really horrible to their parents. And I still have the best relationship with my family, and I will continue that. I have amazing friends that are like my ride or dies. I just think that you are who you surround yourself with. And if there is someone toxic in your life and that is not making you feel good about you, that's where you need to take yourself out and have a conversation with yourself and be like, I am worth more than this. And I'm not going to make this really heavy because I'm going to maybe give you like a little bit of a light-hearted story now. Let me tell you a funny story about mental health. Because when you are not medicated, you do really silly things. Because I did something as such. I had a friend, well, I have a friend, a really close friend, she's amazing, who lost a very close family member, and I wanted to be there for her for the funeral. So 3 days before the day that I didn't take my meds, I wrote everything down, was getting ready for the funeral, had my outfit prepared. If you like, Asian funerals and English funerals are very different. Asian funerals we all wear all white, and like English funerals it's always wearing black. So I had my outfit done, everything was ready, but she said specifically wear something bright. Had all that ready, got to the funeral place parlor, which was about an hour and a half away. Started watching cars come in, and I was like, oh, I don't recognize anyone, which is weird because I don't really, I do know her family, like her family, we're really, like, we're family friends, so it's not like I don't know them. So I didn't recognize anyone, and then like the hearse came, and I was like, still don't recognize anyone. And the person that passed away was a female, but the hearse said dad. I had got the date wrong and come to the funeral parlour 1 week early. I came to some random stranger's funeral, and luckily, just before they'd actually gone into the crematorium, I had walked out because I'd realised what I'd done. So all I'll say to you guys is do not be unmedicated, because it makes you do really silly things, because I did not know for those 3 days what I was doing. And I promise you, medication is not a stigma. If you need it, you need it. It is what it is. If it helps you, it helps you. If you're relying on Ayurvedic treatment or you're relying on prescription medication, there is no judgment here. This is a judgment-free zone. So all I'm saying to you, for people that have whatever mental health issues you have, please make sure you take your meds. Right, guys, that wraps up our first episode. I'm really grateful for you guys to be here. Thank you so much for watching. And if you've got here, I'm really happy that you watched it the whole way through, because this is something that I've been really wanting to do for so long, but I've been really scared about putting myself out there, because I know that doing this comes with judgment, and it comes with a lot of, oh, why is she saying this, why is she saying that, especially in our community. But I really wanted somewhere where we can all relate to a safe place where you don't have to worry about what's happening. If you guys want to send me anonymous problems, anonymous issues, anonymous anything, I will keep your name out of it, but we can send it out to the community. Just message me on my Instagram at MostlyMeera, at MostlyMeera on X, my YouTube again, MostlyMeera. Just search me. This will be obviously live on YouTube soon. I'm hoping to upload every Monday for MostlyMeera Mondays. So I really hope you guys tune in. There will be lots more episodes with guests, subjects. I just want you guys to give me your feedback and let me know what you want me to talk about, because I know there's so many things in this world that a lot of us can't relate to, because a lot of the podcasts I watch, unfortunately, everyone is decked out, all in their makeup, or like a size 0. Nobody shows their true self, and I really want you guys to feel like you're at home here. You're sitting, you know, somebody's house you go to where you take your shoes off and you can put your feet on the sofa. This is that place. Is you can sit up, curl up on the sofa and just relax. A lot of people say that about my parents' house. I think they've adopted about 50 children. If you know me and you know my parents, you know that's the case. And I want that to be a safe space here, because I want to continue that. I want to continue what they have done for a lot of other people, for hundreds and thousands of people. And I know that's not going to get there yet, but I hope one day that it will get there. So make sure you follow me at MostlyMeera on all my social media, on my handles. So if you've made it to the end of the video, I'm really, really grateful. And if you have, then comment a little heart, a pink heart, and I'll know that you've made it to the end of the video. And then give me all the feedback you've got. Subscribe to my YouTube, subscribe to my Instagram. Everything is at MostlyMeera. And if you want some stories and some dishelving of dirt, then follow my blog, because there's a lot of dirt in there. And there's a lot of family stuff, and it's all very different. And I will still be writing on my blog, so don't forget, I won't forget that. That will be an ongoing thing. If there's anything you want me to write about as well, message me. If you can like this video, if you can share this video, I'd be really grateful. Please do. This is my first time trying anything. I'm really putting myself out there. So to all of my friends, family, because that's all of you who subscribe to me, are, if you can just like this video, send it to your family members, your friends, anyone that will watch it, or anyone that you think that would find it interesting, I'd be really grateful. Thank you so much, and I hope you all have a beautiful day.